There are five yeshiva boys and two fathers.
Wait, here in this minute? They're not even promoting it. They have to put something in the room.
So should I send something?
Yeah, just send my son.
Okay. Okay, Zok the Heilige Gemara. We are on Daf Kuf Nun Aleph Amud Beis. Amud Aleph. It's a pretty straightforward daf today. Tomorrow is a little bit more complex, but today's pretty simple. Really, we're going to round up exactly how Matna Shivner works, when it works, and when it doesn't work. So we'll get a good conclusion and Thompson's and Sugya. Zok the Heilige Gemara. We were talking about what is under the category of nechasim. So if someone is makdish is nechasim, if someone gives away is nechasim, what's included? So we so far have proven that karka is included, and metalton are included, currency are included, and shtoris are included. And now the Gemara talks about behemoth. The fifth line, the last word on the fifth line of Kufin and Aleph Amid Aleph. Behemoth ikri nechsi. A behemoth is also called nechasim. It's not. We learned. Makdish nechasim. Someone said, "I want to be makdish all of my nechasim." Ben behemoth. And in his nechasim were behemoths. They were ruya l'gab mizbech. They were ruya to be karbanis. How do you deal with them? So right off the bat, you see that a behemoth is also included in the category of nechasim. So what do you do? Zacharim. If there are male animals, you machru l'tzarchei oilos. You sell them to somebody who wants to bring a carbon oila, and then the money goes to Bedek Abayis. Unekevosh, if there are female behemoths, you sell them to people who want to bring a carbon shlom. Birds are also included in the category of nechasim. It's non we learned hamakdish nechasim such as yenois, shemanim ve'oifos. So you see that oifos fall under the category of nechasim. Tefillin ikri nichsi. Tefillin are also considered your nechasim. It's not a makdish nechasim. If someone is makdish all of his nechasim, his tefillin are hektish. So malin loy tefillin, they got to redeem his tefillin for him. He can't even redeem it himself because he already was makdish everything that he owned. So they'll have to buy his tefillin back for him. What if someone has a sefer Torah? Is that called his nechasim or not? Given loy mizdavin the osal zvune lav nichsu. Since you're not allowed to sell it, so therefore it wouldn't be called your nechasim. Ideal makivin the mizdavin lil moitayr v'lisa isha. If you needed to pay schar limud, or you need money to marry a woman, maybe that's enough of a use for it. That nichsehu, it should be called your nechasim. Zok the Gemara teku. So let's have a look at the Rashbam about what this is over here.
Why is it so different?
So Zok, very good question. So let's look at the Rashbam. Dibra Masal Sefer Torah. Mimikri Nixi. Kit tefillin dummy is a like tefillin. Oy Dilma, exactly answering your question. Oy Dilma tefillin hainu taima to have a malbush. You wear tefillin. Avol Sefer mitzvah. A Sefer is just a mitzvah to have and to learn. V'loy Nixi. Even though technically you could sell it, loy mikri nixi, because you're not supposed to. Let's see what Toshva says about this. So Svarim is a discussion. So I want to see Toshva, then we'll discuss Svarim as well. I don't understand. What's the question? Either she'ein la machrais, the nikim mishicha, and yechash la machrais. It's nechasim. It's got to fall into some category, but either way, it's going to be a category that's called nechasim. Shenikim because of Shavak Chazaka Dami. Nafik Mibinaya. It's going to the mean Nafik Mibinaya. Is it excluded from either category? V'aymerid Avagav the Havel in Knia Kinechasam Shein Lemachrais. Even though Lagabi, its technical state, it's considered Nechasam Shein Lemachrais. But we're discussing what a person means when he says Nechasai. Would he include a Sefer Torah, or he doesn't really consider that part of his Nechasim because it's stuck there? He's not supposed to sell it. So the Rishonim discuss what about other Svarim. If it's about that it's made to learn, other Svarim should be the same. But the Ritva holds that this does not apply to other Svarim. And then there's a whole other layer that David Kleiner would love to hear. That is, the Rishonim hold this only applies if you gave your Sefer Torah to Besmedrin. So the public's using it, then you can't sell it. But not only if you donate it to Bismarish, even if you lent it to the Bismedrish to lane from, so it's used to lane by the public, then you're not allowed to sell it. That's not Yunachosim. But what if you have a Sefer Torah and you keep it in your house? The Rishonim hold Kul Al Mamoid, that for sure is called Yunachosim. It's only things that you, although technically it's yours, you don't have access to do whatever you want with it. For instance, if you lend your Sefer Torah to the shul, you want to take it out, Duvet Torah charges you $500. You know that.
Yeah,
Because people were taking it in and out every day. Right. But they're considered what this Gemara calls a Sefer Torah that might not be nifsa, they'll fall under the teku. Because even if you own it, if it's being lent to the shul, so then it's needed. Yeah. Because there were people who every second week they're taking their Sefer out. So he started charging $500.
Why?
Until Mr. Werner asked, and then it was all went away. Okay. Dr. Gemara Vayter. Now we're going to learn some very fascinating stories. Simmons.
Let's just back up for 1 second. I mean, who's paying the insurance on the Sefer Torah every year? Who does?
How did you know that?
I know that for a fact. No, I know that for a fact. Our basement.
What is insurance on the Sefer Torah anyway?
It's not a law. It goes on, it's considered our.
We have it, it's under the shul's policy. The shul has one policy.
But you have to pay.
And you have,
Shul
and every
bills you back.
sefer is registered.
Uh-huh.
And when I
Is
take
there a serial number on the Sefer Torah? Or how do they
No,
identify it?
It's not, but when I take a sefer to camp for the summer, I have to call the insurance company.
And tell them what?
It's going to camp,
Really?
Yeah.
Why do they care?
because they want to know where it is.
Uh-huh. Look at that.
So yeah, but you see that in essence, the shul is providing a free service to monitor the Sefer Torah throughout the year.
Correct.
But if you start taking in and out privileges, then it's a strain on the shul.
That's what it
'Cause-
is. $500 for his time and effort.
And then all that does is transfers the strain to the guy who's taking it out. You just transfer the strain. Okay.
That's very good. Okay.
Simon Zutra emailed Amram Mitarti Achvasa Rav Tuvi Rav Dimi Rav Yosef. So the Gemara is going to discuss technical Choshen Mishpat halachas. I want to use Akiva to take it a step further and see how what they did for their relationships, because there's going to be some very sticky situations that came out.
Esro, get your service, Yosy.
Ime the Rav Zutra Bar Tovia, the mother of Rav Zutra Bar Tovia, Kasvinu Lenichse the Rav Zutra Bar Tovia. She wrote over all of her nechasim to her son. Why? The boy in Tzuve le Rav Zvid. She wanted to marry Rav Zvid, and she didn't want him getting his hands on her money. So in Siva, she got married. Begirsha, she got divorced. Did you know that Rav Zvid got divorced? He had a failed marriage. He married this. He got this multimillionaire, and he had a failed marriage. He didn't get his money. The chiddush is after she did this, why did he marry her? But Kasha of Maisa. So anyway, Asya lekamed Rav Bibi Barabai. This son, Rav Zutra Bar Tovia, didn't want to give his mother back all that she gave him. Why?
Obviously, she makes bad decisions.
Omar, he said, Mishum and Suvi, she gave it to me because she was getting married, and she didn't get married. What's the problem? Now, before we go by there, I really need to go back to learn the Rashbam that I skipped with the Oilam a couple of days ago, but now it becomes very, very relevant. I don't regret that I skipped it, because I knew we would have to learn it now to refresh our memories. So let's see if I could find the sugya of Mavreches. Was that on?
Oh, yeah,
When was that? That was
the last of the 5.
It was the last of the 5 gifts that you give back. That's right. So let me see if I could find it. So let's look at the Rashbam that goes from the thin lines to the wide lines. And the beginning of the Rashbam, I'm not learning the thin lines, I'm only going to learn the last word on the first wide line, vizeh. So the Rashbam tells us that if a woman writes over everything she owns to somebody, and even somebody asking, sure, what about if it's her son? Today we're going to learn the sugya about just such a case where she gave it to her son. It wouldn't make a difference. You see, she can't trust her son either because he didn't want to give it back.
He was fighting with the siblings.
Right.
It wasn't
So,
his mother.
It doesn't say that there are siblings involved, but
I'm guessing.
you can imagine the family dynamics. So anyway, she gave everything away. If someone gives everything away, and even if she doesn't stipulate or explain why she's doing it, there's an umdana that she only gave everything away because she wanted to protect it from falling into the hands of her husband, either her late husband or her ex-husband or her husband at all. So therefore, it automatically comes back to her. And if you remember, the Rashbam told us it's like a shtickle magic. They're abundant somewhat about takana, because technically it's not a matana. So technically it should belong to the husband, but they made it like it's in limbo. So this halacha zok the Rashbam. So again, I'm on the last word of the first wide line in the Rashbam on Kuf Nun Amud Beis. V'zeh hadavar ein nekasef v'gemur. This halacha that if a woman gives away all of her assets before marriage, that it automatically comes back to her if her marriage should fail. There's no Gemara. There's no Gemara that says it. We figured it out from another similar halacha. Damrina b'ksubas b'perka isha shenafel alachasim. Amar Rab Chaniloi bar Idi. Amar Shmuel. Ani meira hayra im yovei shtar mavreches liyadi ekra. If I ever had a shtar mavreches that came to me, meaning the man whom this woman gave everything to, if he brought a shtar to prove that it's his, I would tear it up. You know why? Because clearly it's not his. She should get it back. The Yoav Taima, and he gave a reason for his psak. Shmuel said the reason for this is there's no way any normal person, including this wife, would give everything away for no reason. Obviously, it was just to escape the clutches of her husband. Meisvei. So the Gemara asks Akasha on Shmuel. How does she do this? She just writes a star, giving away her nechosim to somebody else. But the Chachamim the recipient could chuppah her and keep the money because she wrote him a star and it's a valid star. If she wrote a Tanai in the star, Reuven, I'm giving you all my nechasim from today if I will want to in the future, which gives her the loophole of coming back after her marriage ends and says, I don't want, and therefore it's mevatel the matana. That's the only time it will work. Time of the cost for lehachi. Haloi cost for if she didn't write that Tanai, she just gave him her nechasim. Kaninu lakeach. Lakeach will get it. So it's shver on Shmuel who says that I would tear up any shtar mavrechas. Why would you tear it up? You see that unless she made a Tanai, it would be a valid star. Amar b'zeira lakasha habechulon habemitzasa. The Gemara that we just discussed in Ksubis is speaking where she didn't write all of her assets to this third party. She only wrote some of her assets to the third party. There, it's possible she meant to give it as a legitimate gift. So unless she wrote a Tanai of it might be a valid star. But the Gemara of Mavrachas that we're discussing here in Bava Basra is speaking we should write everything away. So everybody would agree that loikan lekeach, ve'af bal loikan. So if the lekeach not kind, why isn't the bal kind? The Meshani Hasim, the Gemara explains there, Osum kinechasim she'enan yuduin labal. They make it on the chasim that are not known to the bal. It's some type of derabbanan, some type of derabbanan that it's nish there. It's her way of writing a prenup. Okay, so that is the case of the case of the Gemara on Daf Kuf Nun Amud Beis was Mavrachas where she's writing everything off. In this case, we're going to see that the mother of Reb Zutra did not give everything away to Reb Zutra. She only gave him some things. So it would have required a Tanai, as we saw from the Gemara Ksubis. So Omer Rav Huna bar Yeshua, what type of psak are you giving Rav Bibi that he gets to keep it? Mishum da Osam Maloi, since you come from a city called Mamila, Amrisi Milu Malaisa, you said chopped up things. If you remember, Abaya and Rava were children, they were Einiklach of Beis Eli, and they settled in this area, and all the people of Bnei Eli died young. So you're a chopped up person, you're saying a chopped up shop. And why are you wrong? Because afilu leman dama mavreches kani, even if you hold that a shtar mavreches would be kaina, and we're talking about if it's a partial gift, not on all of her items, that's only if she didn't make it very clear why it is that she's giving this matana. Here she made it very clear to Rab Zutra, I'm giving you this money only to protect it from my husband Rab Zvid, and in fact, she did get married, she did get divorced, and therefore she gets it all back. She gets it all back. That's right. So basically, she did it only because of her future ex-husband. Rabbi Zvid was her future ex-husband. What?
She didn't know that.
That's right. I have a friend who he's in his 40s and he's been dating this girl on and off. And he said, the reason why I didn't marry her, because I know she's my future ex-wife. Sagt more weiter. Ema, the Rami Bar Chama, the mother of Rami Bar Chama, the Orta, she was a schizophrenic. At night, she gifted all of her nechasim, and this was a matna shchivmera to Rami Bar Chama. And B'tzafra in the morning, the next day, she gave it to his brother. So at the end of the day, if you want a matna shchivmera, you need to kill. You have to kiss up. You have to kiss up to the deceased until they die. You got to kiss up until they die, or as soon as they give it to you, you gotta make sure they won't be able to change their mind, right? Also, magic pillow by that's the famous guy who has magic pillow.
No, that's
Yeah.
the magic pillow is the pillow that makes you Yosy.
Also, Rami Bar Chama. So Rami Bar Chama came.
Who got it first?
Who got it first? Which pasuk did he go to? Rab Sheshes. And Ukve Benixi. Rab Sheshes, you're right, you got it. So naturally, Rav Ukva is not going to go to Rab Sheshes. He's going to find the pasuk that'll pass like him. Oslo Rav Ukva Bar Chama, Kamed Rab Nachman, and Ukve Benixi. So you can already see a big family feud over here. Also, Rab Sheshes Kamed Rab Nachman, and Rab Sheshes came to Rab Nachman to confront him. How could you give it to Rav Ukva? I gave it to Rami. Amalei, Rab Nachman took out the first shot, and Rab Nachman did a preemptive strike. And he asked Rab Sheshes, "What's the matter with you? My time ukmei mar l'Rav Ukva Bar Chama. Why did you give it to Rav Ukva Bar Chama? You should have given it to Rami Bar Chama."
No, he did. He gave it to him.
Rab Sheshes gave it to Mori, and Rab Nachman gave it to Ukva.
Right.
So my time. Oh, so forget Rab Sheshes asked Rab Nachman. He asked Rab Nachman, why did you give it to Ukva? I was wrong. It wasn't a preemptive.
Right.
He asked Rab Nachman, why did you give it to Rab Ukva Bar Chama? Imishum the Hadraba. If you're going to tell me because Vibal, she changed her mind, but a Shchivera who dies, it's Matna Shchivera Consuming Surim. So the first thing that she said should have been valid. But she ended up dying. So the first thing that she said should be valid. Amalei Rab Nachman said, "I'm sorry, Rab Sheshes, you're making a mistake. Because Hachi Amar Shmuel, this is what Shmuel taught us about Matna Shchivera. Kol Sheilu Amat Chayzer, any Matna Shchivera, which is defined by if the person recovers, it's mevatel the gift, then Chayzer b'matanosai. They also have a right to be Chayzer until the last minute. So what you're misinformed is you think that a Matna Shchivera works and it's not revocable. The answer is it is revocable. And therefore, since she later gifted it to Rav Ukva Bar Chama, therefore he gets it. So Rav Sheshes wasn't going to take this, and he gave it right back. He said, "Amud Amar Shmuel la'atzmai." Maybe Rav Shmuel just said that I could change my mind and keep it for myself. La'achmi Amar, who said that gives me a right to change my mind and give it to somebody else? Amar Lei, Rav Nachman said, "Beferish Amar Shmuel." He specifically said, "Bein la'at and bein la'akar." And therefore, it goes to the last person she gifted it to, and it goes to Rav Ukva Bar Chama. So I wonder what the aftermath of this discussion was. I'm sure Rav Ukva, they were sitting Shiva, unless they waited till after the Shiva. They're sitting Shiva, and I'm not sure what's going on over there. Okay, anyway, so how do you learn Pshat? If you want to learn Pshat the way we learned with the story about Rava, who was trying to get the Nechasim from Isra Giyayra, he didn't want Murray by Rachel to get it. What happened was Rav Sheshes, really Rav Ukva wanted to give it to Rami. Rami wanted to give it to Rav, so they went to the Rav because he wanted to. They wanted to. And anyway, they were going to split it. This was just it was an academic discussion. Zok the Gemara weiter. Ime what? Ema of Amram Chasida, the mother of Amram Chasida, Havala Muluga Dishtora. She had a bundle of stories of people who order a lot of money and they represent the star represented those receivables, right? Kika Shavcha, before she died, again the Matna Shchivmera, Amr, she said, Lahavala Amrim Bari. I want them to go to my dear Tari Ingela Amrim. Also Achua Kamed Rav Nachman. So his brother wanted to contest the will because Rav Amram Chasida never made a kinyan on it. So if he never made a kinyan on it, then it should follow the Yerusha, and the brother should get a fair share. Amrulay, I'm not. They told him, "V'olei Moshe." Why was Ram get it? He never was Moshe. He wasn't kohen the stars in the lifetime of my mother. So why should he get them? Amr lahu. So Rav Nachman told him, no kinyan is necessary, and therefore it belongs to your brother Rav Amram. Achsei Rav Tuvi by Rav Masna.
It's funny, now, this story is now, we've been learning halacha shkuma now for the last 10, 12 blocks.
Yeah, but he didn't. He learned it now.
This should have been at the beginning.
Do you wanna
This
know,
is
you
the
wanna know the
story.
answer? This is how it.
This is the story.
What's funny is that there's no machlokas. Boom, that's the answer.
That's halacha.
That's the answer.
Rule made it very clear.
So, just
You-
put it in the
you
beginning and then.
just skipped out the last.
No, we can learn all the halachas, but like I said, this is the
Oh,
basic.
Teku.
There's going to be
That's
more.
what they do.
There's going to be more because we're going to discuss today the halacha of Mata Shchivra that you gave everything away. We're going to learn the halacha of Mata Shchivra when you only gave some of it away, and how that works. And there's some
Oh, yeah,
details.
That's
in
the
it.
Mishnah. The Mishnah says you can be.
But the mission doesn't say if you gave away part of it, was there a kinyan or not? Would it work within a kinyan, without a kinyan? So the Gemara is going to get it there. Achtei the Rav Tuvi bar Rav Masna, the sister of Rav Tuvi bar Rav Masna. You know the famous saying, "It's not the money, it's the principle." That's what we're going to learn tonight. It's not the money, it's the principle. Achtei the Rav Tuvi bar Rav Masna, the sister. They had a rich sister, because v'sinul nichsa le Rav Tuvi bar Rav Masna. B'tzaf. In the morning, she wrote. She was probably dying, and she wrote over all of her estate to her brother Tuvi bar Rav Masna. Lepani in the afternoon, also Rav Achtavoy bar Rav Masna, and he said, "What about me? You're counting me out of your will." Bachalo, he cried to her. Amalo, he said, "It's not the money; it's the principle." Amalo Hash, you know what people are going to say? Hash to Amri Mar Tuvi Marbon. They'll say that Rav Tuvi bar Rav Masna, he's a Talmid Chacham, and that's why his sister gave him all the money. Umar and me, he loved Tuvi Marbon. So forget the money. I don't care about money. What skills? What skills? But people are going to look at me like I'm a So she says she felt bad for him because we're sitting in the hell. So she gave it all to him now, and she just deprived Rav Masna, Rav Tuvi bar Masna, of his thing,
All of it, you get all of it.
everything. Also, the Kamed Rav Nachman. So naturally, Rav Tuvi was, as soon as his sister died, he told his wife, "I'm buying you a new mink coat." And all of a sudden, there's no money. He said, "What's going on over here?" Well, your brother got it. I'm going straight to Din Torah. They went to Rav Nachman. Amalei Hachi Amar Shmuel. This is what Shmuel said. Kol Shilu Omat Chayzer B'Matanasai. So in fact, Rav Achtavoy is a pretty good Talmid Chacham because he got the money away from. So I would like to know what they were talking about during the shift as well.
Oh, it's only the
And
principle.
the wives are fuming. You got a fur coat. That's my fur coat. That's right. The sisters are probably not happy with each other. Okay, Zok the Gemara weiter. Achsei, the Rav Dimi bar Yosy, I wonder if the Gemara shares these stories to teach us that the worst type of fights are these Yerusha fights, and they always get into trouble. So you have to you know what the limit from this is? I went on with the whole epilogue about their fighting by Shiva, but there's no epilogue. That was the end of the story. That was the end of the story. There was no fight. It was the halach was accepted. In the gang of as if nothing ever happened.
Moral of
the end of the story.
Die penny.
In our days, that was supposed to be the beginning of the story. Here's the end of the story. After the Rav Dimi bar Rav Yosef, the sister of Rav Dimi bar Yosef, Havala Psikta de Pradisa. She had a little piece of orchard, and she was she was a hypochondriac. She always thought she was dying. So every time she felt weak, have a maknil in the halay, she would give it to him with a matna shchivara, and then he's all excited. He's ready to spend money.
He's spending
And then-
the money already.
And then she calls him back. I have bad news for you. I'm feeling better. And then when she felt better, so he was fed up. Every month there's another false alarm. Come, I want to give you my stuff. So one day he decided he's going to teach her a lesson. Dim nachada, also she got sick again. And Sholchale talkini, come, I want to give you my stuff. And he said, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. Sholach loibin, I'm not interested in you hacking me at China. Sholchale, she said to him, I'll tell you what. I so badly want you to come. Talkini, come be kinda. Koleka the boys. You could structure the sale, the gift any way you want, how much you want. He said, now I have an opportunity. Because our Mishnah told us that if you don't take it all, you only take part, you can't back out anymore. Right? So he says, now I'm going to pull a fast one. Ozal, he went. Shira, he left some of the orchard by his sister. And he was kind with the Kenyan, the rest of it. So there's no problem over here. It's a matna shchivra, but it works because there was a Kenyan done. And even if she gets healthy, she get back out because she was left some. Correct. It's not about shchivra. Right. Kikaima, sure she got better again. Hajra, she wanted it back.
Right.
And he said, ha, this time you can't get it back. So she said, what do you think? I learned in BJJ. I know my halachas. I'm going to take you to the entire Rav Nachman. Asay l'kamei Rav Nachman. Shalach lei. So she called her brother to the entire. And her brother didn't want to come to the entire. I'm not coming to the entire. You know why I'm not coming to the entire? He told him, Nachman, my isi, why should I come? I dotted all my I's. I crossed all my T's. I checked off all the check boxes. This is an irrevocable Kenyan. So I'm not coming to be summoned by the best. Shalach Leir of Nachman said, you don't mess with me. Eloi Osis, if you don't come, I'm going to whack you with a thorn that's not going to leave a trace. It's not going to leave blood. In other words, I'm going to put you into chayrim. You know, when they try to force people to give a get, they use cattle prods on the place in people's bodies where the sun don't shine, right? They beat these guys up, but they try to beat them up in a way where they wouldn't be able to prove that anyone bet them up, so they shouldn't go to jail. Because we know people in the last 5 years or 10 years ago, there's a story recently where someone went to jail because it turned out that he was caught. What? They left the mark. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But he was caught to beat. His Adam lived in Toronto, and I once had a charusa in Lakewood. He was a big, strong, tough guy, and he came in to say to one day, "I'm so exhausted." What are you exhausted about? So last night I went to Brooklyn. We went up to the 3rd floor, me and some friends. We knocked on the guy's door. The guy answers the door in his pajamas. We grab him out of his apartment. We slam the door behind him. We drag him down to the boiler room of his building, and we start pounding him. And we tell him, listen, we know what you've been doing, and here's a card. You have an appointment by this therapist tomorrow at noon. You better not miss a single appointment, and you better clean yourself up. And if anybody finds out, if you report it to the police, your wife will know what's going on too. And that's what he worked in part of a squad. He would beat people up. What?
What are you doing?
What do you mean? The guy was sleeping around.
Oh,
He was sleeping around. And they found out about it. I don't know who the Askadim were.
they wanted to
What?
save the man.
What?
They wanted to save the man.
Yeah. So, yeah. How did they know? I don't know. Maybe they used the same service provider. So basically, because Dr. Gemara, I always love these people who are looking for violations and sneers so they can be masakin. Right? Okay, anyway, so Hashira, the Kanimino, and that was kind of Sholach la for long. Sholach lay. I told him I'm afraid to dump you because then you're going to say I'm a victim. Sholach lay. So Nachman said, sent him back, you better get over here. Eloi Asis Machinalach Mesulit Loi Mavado. Amalahula Sahadi. So of course, Dimi Bar Yosef had to come to Rav Nachman, appear in front of Rav Nachman with his evidence. So he had Adam that he made the Kenyan. So Rav Nachman asked Adam, tell me exactly what happened, what led up to this gift. Tell me the whole story. Hey, they told him, Amr Hachi. This is how the whole event started. First, she said the following. Vai, the Kamisa Hachitza. I'm devastated that I'm dying. And then she said, I want to give it to you. Amr Lahu, Rav Nachman said, there's another halacha of matna shchivra you didn't know about. And that is, when do we say a matna shchivra doesn't go back if you left over some? That's if it's at the end of her life and she some gave a gift and didn't specify anything. There we say that unless she gave everything away, we don't have an to know that she would have wanted it back if she survives. But if she spoke it out, that's a new category. That's called mitzvah machmas misa. Even though there was a bona fide Kenyan made, but if she specifically said, I'm giving it to you because I'm dying, there, even if it's a bona fide Kenyan made, it still reverses should she recover. So that's the first bombshell chiddush we are learning today about mitzvah machmas misa. The Mishnah does not speak about mitzvah machmas misa.
The Mishnah
It's
said-
speaking stam she gave a gift. So matna shchivra is chamsurin because of the umdana. If she gave everything away, if she didn't give everything away, there's no umdana. But if she spoke out, I'm only giving it to you because I'm dying, so that's proof in the pudding.
Even if it's everything.
Even if it's not everything.
I don't need.
If it's everything, Mamalach, she gets it back if she survives.
So
Here, even if she
The
didn't
idea
give everything
was
away.
that if you
well,
don't
how
make
does
it-
that? But how does that make the umdana?
You don't need a
I
numdana. She said it before. She said it
I-
before. I'm
I
giving
don't
it to you.
so I don't
The thing
need-
I'm dying.
I don't need you saying anything. The fact that she's keeping something back takes away the
that would
umdana.
normally do
It
it.
takes away the
Says-
umdana. We automatically say that's what she meant. But if she speaks it out, then she spoke it out. The umdana means without you saying it, we know that's what you meant. If she left over something for herself, then unless she expressed it, we don't know. So this is a bombshell that we just learned that even though it was a regular kinyan, I was kind of your nechasim, you could still back out if you speak out in advance that I'm only giving you anything I'm doing.
That's like the moment the guy went to flying. The guy who sells all the hospital.
Right, and then the script
If
didn't
he
work out.
says it, if he says.
That's
I'm
right.
doing this because of
I'm,
this.
That's
I'm,
correct.
I'm moving to Yerushalayim.
And it doesn't work out,
it
then he gets
doesn't
it back.
work out.
Exactly.
Same
Now,
thing.
this-
on the Shifra then?
Mat Shivra, if the person giving the matah does not say why he's giving it, he just gives it, but from the circumstances, we realize why he's giving it. But if you speak it out before, so this is the first bombshell. We're going to learn another massive bombshell later today about Matava Machmas Misa. But the first bombshell of Matava Machmas Misa is that even if the person who gifted the item kept enough for himself,
You get it back.
he still gets it back. Zog to Gemara weiter. Itmar. What about a matnash shchivmar b'miktas, which is really what our Mishnah discusses, right? And our Mishnah says that if the person recovers, you cannot reverse it. But what the Mishnah doesn't say is, how do you give a matnash shchivmar b'miktas? Do you need a kinyan now?
No.
So you're saying no.
It's soon done.
That's a matnash shchivmar kuloi. That should be give everything. But if you only give part away, does it also have that alone? So that's what the Gemara is going to probe today.
After the person dies or before the person dies?
It would only be relevant after the
After
person
the
dies,
person.
because there's no kinyan now. So let's have a look at the Bach, because the Bach sticks in some very important words. Itmar matna shchivmara b'miktas. Amar Rava, Amar Rav Nachman. You can see Rav Nachman is the bottom line on these halachas. Harehu kamatnas bari. It's no different than any other gift that someone would give. There's no special rules that apply to it, and therefore we boy kinyan. Of course, you need a kinyan because it's a regular matana. And that's why if the person recovers, it doesn't change anything. You keep it unless it was Matava Machmas Mitzvah. So Amru, so this is what Rava said in the name of Rav Nachman. So the people around Rava said, we heard something else in the name of Rav Nachman. Amru Rabbanan Kamei de Rava, Mishmei de Marzutra. So the Rabbanan said, we heard from our Zutra, Bered Rav Nachman, we heard from Rav Nachman's son, something different from what you, Rava, told us in the name of Rav Nachman. Tamar Mishmei de Rav Nachman, that Areyu Kamatnas Bari, Areyu Kamatnas Shchivmar. If you give a matana, a matnas Shchivmar b'miktas, it's a hybrid. It has features of a matnas Bari, and it has features of a matnas Shchivmar. Areyu Kamatnas Bari, in what way is it like a matnas Bari? Shim Omad Einoi Chayzer. But Areyu Kamatnas Shchivmar, the loy boy kinyan. So you are quoting Rav Nachman as saying that it does need a kinyan. We're quoting Rav Nachman who says that it does need a kinyan. Amalu Rava. So Rava said, Hakmanish can kapara. I always say over what my Rosh Yeshiva once told me. Yosef Zalman, I don't mind if you say over my Torah in your name, but please don't say over your Torah in my name. So that's what Rava told them. Lav amina lechu. Have I not told you umpteen times? Lo tislu buki shriki b'Rav Nachman. Don't hang your empty jugs, your thoughtless, wrong svaris on Rav Nachman. Don't blame your nonsense on Rav Nachman. Let me tell you with clarity what Rav Nachman said. Hachi Amar Rav Nachman, Harehi Kematnas Bari Uboy Kin. He couldn't have been more clear. So now what have we so far? That a Matnas Shchivmar b'miktas it's not a Matnas Shchivmar. It's a regular matana, and you need to make a kinyan on it. And even if the person recovers, the kinyan remains because it's a regular gift. Eisei Rava or Rav Nachman. So Rava had a kasha on Rav Nachman's halacha that it needs a kinyan. I'm going to challenge you. Maybe it shouldn't need a kinyan. And essentially, Rava's kasha is exactly the kasha that Shlomo that you asked when we started. Because right away you said, "Hey, it's in the Mishnah, you don't need a kinyan." Right? That's exactly what Rava's kasha. Shayar karka kosru matanosa keves. My love the l'economy yode the l'economy. Pashas the Mishnah speaking when there was no kinyan. Zokmer loy. Maybe not. Maybe the sefer the Mishnah where it says Shayar karka kosru is the economy. Correct the Gemara, if the Mishnah is speaking in a case where there's a kinyan, let's go to the end of our Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Loi Shire Kakakol. What if he gave everything away? Ein matanasa kayemes. If the person recovers, the matana won't be valid. But the kanumine amayim matanasa kayemes. It's not a shchivmara. You gave him a gift with a proper kinyan in your lifetime. Why would you say that if he recovers, it gets reversed? The mela matna shchivmara will get reversed. But this is not a matna shchivmara. There was a kinyan done. Right? Amar lei hachi amar Shmuel. This is what Shmuel taught us. Shchivmara shekasav kol nechasim lachem aval bishakanu miyadai. Even though there was a kinyan, Omad, if he recovers, Chayzer, the Matana goes back. Because you have the same Omdana. But Yadua, Shlehaya, Kaina, Ella, Machmas, Misa. It's clear. Even if he made a kinyan, and it's a legit gift, and it doesn't need a special process of Matna Shemara, there's still the same Omdana that he only gave it because he was under the assumption that he was not going to need it.
Are we thinking about whether we need a kinyan after the fellow dies?
No, after the fellow dies, it's too late to do a kinyan. A kinyan is only valid if it's done before he dies.
But why?
Because once you die, it goes to Yerusha. You can't be maknani. It doesn't belong to him. You can only give something away when it's yours. Once you die, it belongs to your Yerusha.
But the whole matnashkimra.
That's a special magic that it works after you die, and that's a special takana of
The
matnashkimra.
question now is what the recipients of the gift require a kinyan before the fellow
They
dies?
for sure don't. But what if they did? Because the Mishnah's case is speaking in a case where there was a kinyan. So since there was
So
a
we
kinyan,
agree that they don't need it.
yeah, we all agree they don't need, but the Mishnah happens to be discussing a case where there was a kinyan. It wouldn't be necessary, but there was. The question is, now that there's a kinyan, maybe he doesn't have the loophole of Matna Shchivmara, and now maybe if he survives, you can't get it back. So Shmuel said, no, even if it was a bona fide kinyan, and it's not invoking this new process of Matna Shchivmara, you still get it back because you have the same umdin. Nobody would have given a gift if he thought that he would need it. Okay. Eisvei Rab Mashar Shela Rab. So now Rab Mashar had a kash on Rab. Maisha, there was a story, Be'iman Shal B'nei Roichel. There was a gentleman by the name of Roichel, and he had children, and the children had a mother. And this mother, I don't think her husband was alive anymore. You'll see from the context of the story. Roichel wasn't alive. Iman was about to die. Shahaisa Chayl, she was ill. The Amran, she said, Tina Sein Kivina Silavit. I want to give my kavina to my daughter, and there's mamas them shot, but it's some type of metal clasp that you use to close your jacket or close your shirt. It's a brooch or some type of device that you use that. But it was valuable. It was 1,200 money. That's pretty good considering that a ksuba is Mosai. So it's 6 times what a ksuba is. Now, clearly that wasn't all she had. She was giving one thing, she's earmarking it for her daughter. Clearly she had more. So this would be a matna shchivmara b'miktzas, right? It would need a kinyan. Umeit, and she died. V'kaimu chachamim es divareha. And the Rosh Hashanah died, divareh, her words, meaning she never made a kinyan. She merely gifted it. So this is exactly our case. It's a matna shchivmara b'miktzas, and the chacham said that the daughter gets it. You told me Rab Nachman says that you need a kinyan. So after Gemara, and here's the second bombshell. Hasam mitzava machmas misa. When you're mitzava machmas misa, that means I'm about to die, and since I'm about to die, I want to give you this gift. That will work with the process of matna shchivmara.
Only if you actually die right away.
Only if you die right away. And if you don't die, even if you made a kinyan, you get it back. Right? So mitzava machmas misa has 2 bombshell chiddushim. A is even if you made a kinyan, you get it back if you survive. And the other chiddush is normally matna shchivmara only works if you gave it all away. But if you speak out, I'm giving it to you because I'm dying, then
and you
die, yeah, then it works. So somebody asked me, it doesn't say anywhere that she said, it just says tinos and tinos leviti. Where does it say that? So the Shbam says it must be the bottom of Shbam. It must be that the case is his kira the midaigas misa himachlekes. She must have said, I'm giving it to you because I'm afraid I'm going to die and I won't need it anymore. The mitzvah, yeah, but it's not enough that she was going to. She had to speak it out. Otherwise, it's not mitzvah machmas misa. The mitzvah, the mitzvah machmas misa, loy boy kinyan, hecha demeis, if she actually died, bein ikashir, bein lekashir, v'haki paskin lekaman, that's going to be the psak halacha short. Eisvei Ravina the Rava. Ravina now has a kasha. Everyone's lining up to ask kasha to Rava. Rava first asked the kasha, Mishashna, now Ravina. Ha'omer tnu get zelish. Someone said, give this get to my wife. Ushtar shikhr zalab, or this shtar shikhr to my eved. Umeis before it was given, lo yitnu lachamisa. Because a get doesn't work lachamisa. And a shtar shikhr doesn't work lachamisa. Well, what if someone said tnu mana leploini, which is mitzava, which is also a matna shchivnara b'miktas, because we're assuming that he had a little bit more than the mana in his estate. Tnu mana leploini, umeis, yitnu lachamisa. So, Pashas, there's no kinyan, and you see that matna shchivnara b'miktas works without a kinyan. Who said there was no kinyan? It's very simple how I know. Dumi the get. We're comparing this case to the case of get. Ma get lavar kinyan. There is no kinyan by get. There's no kinyan to be had. Get has nothing to do with kinyan.
What?
A get has nothing to do with kinyan.
It has to come into a hand.
But it's not that just to be koinit. It's not a choshe mishpat kedin. It's a yoredei kedin. So there's no kinyan required. At hainami dolai kanimne. So this is not a brisa that's discussing kinyanim. And nevertheless, you see, without any kinyan, it worked as a matna shchivmar b'miktas.
Yosy, if
Yes.
somebody gives a get, and
Right.
then the wife dies before he delivers, and the husband dies before he delivers the get, can he still deliver the get?
Ain't get lachamisa, it won't work. So if he had a brother and they had no
No,
children,
he said he wants to give her a get now, and he sent it even with a shliach kabbalah.
if he gave it to shliach lakabbalah, then she's begureshes right away.
Then she's begareshes right away.
But he can't give it to a shliach lakabbalah. She has to send. She has to appoint the shliach lakabbalah. He can't appoint a shliach lakabbalah.
And you can't make a t'nai al nasha omus, right? That it's me'achshav, right?
Could you make? Could you
We do it. We did learn that.
You can.
Of course you could.
They did
Of
all
course
the-
you can.
That's what the shoulders. That's right.
It's accepted. The get, isn't the get given? No, the get's not given?
Yeah, they give the get to her. He gives his wife a get, and she says, "I'll give it to you. I'm not allowed. It should be chal shah achas
Yeah.
koydem misos."
Right,
Because-
right.
So- No,
I think that answers Rebel's question, right? That there is, if you put a t'nai in it and you
No,
want her
that's
to,
only if the get. That's only if you're delivering the get before death. If the get is not delivered before death, it doesn't matter. It's till death do us part.
Yeah, the get- the
No,
get-
yeah, but okay. I thought they.
oh, she has to have it in her hand
Or
before,
her the Kabbalah has to
or
have. it.
Shekavalas a hand. Or you have to learn how to predate things.
So Zok the Gemara, you know what? Chasam nami b'mitzava machos misa. Maybe the case of Pnumon Laploini was where he said, you know why I want to give the money to Ploni? Because I'm dying. So that works without a kinyan. Even if you would hold the mitzava machos misa, ba'alma boy kinyan, even if you would argue on that fact, it's not v'chitanya ahimis naisa the mechala kol nechosov. Sure, he said Pnumon Laploini, but you're just taking one excerpt about what he said. He gave a whole long list, and he was distributing all of his assets. And one of the things he said was Numan Laplani. So there is a legit, full-blown matna shchivra. He matna shchivra shavua. So now the Gemara is doing a roundup of all the halachas that we learned over the past couple of days. The hilchasa matna shchivra b'miktzes boy kinyan, like Rav Nachman said. The afal gav the mace, even though the person died, it wouldn't work unless there was a kinyan, because the principle of shchivra, matna shchivra, does not work unless you give everything away. But mitzava machmas misa, if you explicitly stated that I'm giving it to you because I think I'm dying, that loy boy kinyan. Even a matana b'miktzas would not need a kinyan, but of course for who demes, that's only if the person died at then. But amad by mitzava machmas misa b'miktzas, if the person survived, chayzer goes back. The afagav the kanimine, even though there was a bona fide kinyan made at the time, it still goes back because he spoke out. I'm only giving you this reason. Okay, we'll stop here, and Beshem will mamshech tomorrow.
Wow.
Tomorrow's blood is a little bit more difficult. Today was ganz geschmack. Okay, I want you a good tevach a gebenched.
What'd you call today's blot?
I didn't think of what to call it yet. You thought maybe you said just I've had very lame names recently.